Okay. Hello, everybody. Here we are. This is our last evening of recorded sessions for this course, DES-244, Packaging Design. I hope you all have learned some things, and I want to start off tonight by talking a little bit about our final assignments. There seems to be a little tiny bit of confusion about what exactly has to happen in these last two assignments. Now, I want you to notice that I'm on week 4 here. We have a discussion, we have a career integration, which is a 3-question, you just answer 3 questions, you get 15 points for doing it. So just go in and answer the questions. It gives you a chance to talk about the course and what you thought of it. 15 points. Of course, our discussion. This week, though, I want to point out that this is a 2-part assignment. Very important for you all to understand. This is a 2-part assignment. One of the points that I've been making through the entire course is I've been trying to demonstrate as much as I possibly can the way to go about creating professional design mock-ups. I made a number of different attempts. Tonight, I will do one more professional mock-up. And again, the reason I'm doing it is so everybody has a very good idea of how to go about doing this so that you could do it. Now, what I would like to do real quickly is I'd like to go to week 4 assignment, creating professional mock-ups, so I can talk a little bit further about this. So the first thing is, for this assignment, and this is 1/2 of the assignment. There's 2 parts to the assignment. We're talking about just one now. In a minute, we'll talk about the other part. But now this is just one part of the assignment. There's 2. For this assignment, you will create a 3D prototype of your final design and submit it to the client. So what you would really want to do here is you would want to make a box and a prototype bottle. The box will have its graphics applied to it, and the bottle will have its graphics applied to it. This is what you would ultimately be submitting to the client for approval, okay? I'm going to go over it again tonight, but again, we've been through this. You've seen how I did it, and so it's very important that you get that. Now, here's the other part of this. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Here we go. You'll name your file DES-244 assignment for first last name, submit the PDF for grading within your normal submission, upload final mock-ups to your Behance portfolio site. Very important. I had at least 2 students ask me about this. Yes, you will be uploading final mock-ups to your Behance portfolio site. I don't know, I mean, I have no one here to ask, but I would assume that you all have already got a Behance portfolio site. I will also, in a moment, go in and demonstrate where and how you upload your assignment to your Behance site. This is critical. You also want to send me an email with your FDA and CC the instructor to your FDA and CC me, your instructor, with the URL link to your Behance portfolio site. So in other words, what this is saying essentially is you're going to send an email showing your FDA that you've done this project. You'll also CC me as your instructor, and that FDA or the email to the FDA will have the link to your Behance portfolio site so that they can go in and they can take a look at the work that you did. It's absolutely essential that you understand this and that you do it. Okay? So really go in and take a look at this assignment and make sure that you're absolutely clear on it. The important thing is that you want your mock-ups, your 3D revolved and 3D extrude mock-ups to be looking professional, and it's going to be uploaded to Behance. So let's take a minute. Here's Behance. Okay, so I'm in Behance right now, and I do have a Behance site, and really, you'll log in, obviously. You'll come over here and you'll log in, and then what you'll do is you'll add work, okay? So I've already logged in, and I've already Hi, Tamara. How you doing? You got your mic there, Tamara?
I do. Hello.
Okay. I got a question for you because I don't know this answer. Do you have already a Behance site?
Yes.
Oh, you got one.
Yes.
Okay. I guess, is it safe to assume every one of you guys do you think? What do you think? I don't know. I don't have anybody here other than you to ask, so I'm wondering, would you say all of the students have this at this point?
Any student who's had either who's had color theory should have a Behance.
Okay. Do you have any trouble uploading to Behance? Do you know how to do it?
I do know how to do it.
Okay. Because I mean, I was just talking about I was just talking about the fact that it's important for there. This is a two-part assignment. I don't know whether you're aware of this or not. I know I had two students already questioning me on this, so I just want to make sure everybody understands that this is a two-part assignment. One of the parts of the assignment is that you are going to create your mock-ups, and it'll be a box mock-up and a bottle mock-up, and you will make it as one image and you will upload it to Behance. Then what you're going to do is you're going to send an email to your FPA and you'll CC me, and it will have a link to your Behance portfolio site where they can go in and take a look at the project. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah. That's what we had to do before.
Okay, but do you have any questions about what you need to do there?
No, not there, but I do have a question on the assessment. I was a little confused about the assessment
What is
because
the assessment?
the assessment is almost like the week 3 assignment, and I just wanted to
No,
make
wait a
sure
minute. That's week 4 assignment, creating professional design mock-ups, and week 4 assessment, preparation of final artwork. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, well, just so that you understand, if you really read this, let me click on it. If you really read this, this says something a little tiny bit different. Create a print-ready file that meets printing standards for package creation. So what you're doing here is you're taking your project. I don't know whether you attended. I don't remember whether you came on Monday or not, but or
I couldn't get in on Monday. That's the reason why I wound up emailing you
oh, you
because
didn't get in. Okay, I didn't know that. Then
yeah, because every time I tried to go into the room, it kept saying wait for the host to start the meeting.
oh, I was in here. I was in here. I don't know what happened. I was in here, and I had another student on here, so I'm not sure what.
And I started watching the recording, and it was you and Breezy. So maybe other students had that problem
I
because
don't know. I don't. I got one email. Now that I think about it, I got one email from you. So, all right. So, I guess what I'm saying is, if you watch the video from the first night of this week, you're going to see that I went into great detail talking about getting your files to be print ready. I mean, I know that you guys worked on the project the week before, but now is basically where you're taking your last look at this and you are correcting any and all possible errors that might be in your project. And I know that not everybody, but some of you got critiqued by me, and I was telling them to do this, that, and the other thing, and all those things need to be addressed. Plus, what you need to do is you also need to, let me scroll down a little bit. The work has been approved by the client. You are set to deliver to you're going to deliver the final design. At this stage, you have to take necessary changes to review the client's feedback and prepare the art. You must prepare a print-ready document. And were you able to watch my recorded session from Monday night?
I got halfway through it because I had a long day, but I
Okay.
got halfway through it.
Okay, so my point is, if you look at the entire video, the thrust of the particular lesson was I discussed this print-ready process and what it entails. And as a matter of fact, if I scroll a little bit further down, all final artwork includes all information required for accurate print, fold, and assemble the package. So I went over how I prepared mine using layers and how I divided the things up on layers and why I did what I did. So, you know, I explained that part of it. The final artwork includes all information required to accurately print the label and any die lines for special shapes. I talked about that. You're going to combine all of that into one single PDF, which you'll submit. And then what I'll be able to do, since it's PDF, I'll be able to I'll go into speed grading, open the thing up, and I should have two things. I should have a final package layout that's correct, and I should have a label art that's correct. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense, but that's why I was saying it was a lot like the week 3 assignment.
Yes, but again, the major difference is this is the final chance you have to look critically at everything and make sure that you've covered all your bases. If you've covered all your bases last week, you don't really have a lot to do. If I didn't give you any critique about what, you know, is right or wrong with your projects, well, you don't have to worry about that. Some people got a critique from me. This is wrong, that's wrong, need to fix that, this. You understand?
Yep.
Did I give you any of that, or was yours okay? I'm just trying to remember because I can't remember everything.
You gave me the feedback in the grade book.
Okay, so whatever I said in the feedback, you're going to deal with. You're going to look at it and consider, and you're going to either do something with it or have a reason why or not. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, and then go on to looking at the video, the recording from Monday, and take a look at what I did and make sure that you address all those things. Specifications that will be looked at and graded on. These are important points. That the images and the vector files are in CMYK. What you want to do is you want to make sure that if you brought any images into this, that you've utilized images that are in CMYK and not RGB. Do you have any question about how to prepare a raster or a bitmap image from RGB to CMYK? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I know how to do that.
Okay, because all you do is go into Photoshop and you go to the image menu and go to mode, right? That sounds
Right.
And then you open up mode and it should be either RGB or CMYK. More than likely, it'll be an RGB. And all you do is you convert it from RGB to CMYK, save the file, and then it is in CMYK. So it isn't really that difficult to do.
Right.
Okay, now all the cut lines and fold lines, you're going to play. The image resolution should be 300 pixels per inch. You could do that in Adobe PDF. All cut lines and fold lines should be correctly drawn, rendered, and I did go over that in live session, and I explained to you that I had 3 separate layers. One of my layer was for my bleed, and that was in red. One of my layers had my cut line or trim line, and that line was in black. And then on another layer, I had my folds, which were dashed gray lines. And all 3 of them were on separate layers. The reason that is so that the printer can literally hide each individual layer and inspect each particular piece. Does that make sense? Or do you have any questions? Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. And then you're going to make sure that the die lines are set to overprint on all artwork. All bleeds properly prepared to allow for any gluing of the flap or tuck flaps that are temporarily hidden or open. So essentially what that means is wherever your images are going to bleed off the page, there has to be that color going to the bleed. So wherever you're going to be putting the color, and it is going to actually bleed off the page, there has to be bleed allowance for that color. The glue flap or the tuck flap, you do not necessarily have to print. As a matter of fact, on the gluing flap, I don't want you to print any color over the entire thing. All I want you to do is make sure that the color bleeds over onto that glue flap a little bit to compensate for folding. Does that make sense to you? You remember me mentioning that in the past?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand exactly what I'm talking about and why I want to do it.
Right.
Right. As far as tuck tabs go, tuck tabs are part of the folding process, and they will open. You can put color over the entire tuck tab, or you could put it halfway or a quarter of the way, but you have to make sure it goes over a little bit again so that when it folds, if there's a slight imperfection in the fold, there'll be enough color there to compensate for that. So all that's very important, okay? And then it says here, any required weights, UPC codes, nutritional facts, if applicable or placed, and size per government requirements. So this is what's important, is that you basically make sure that you do that. You haven't created this package in labeling and in design, so you've actually done this in Adobe Illustrator. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a PDF and submit the PDF. You'll also package the file and submit the file you won't package it, but what you'll do is, and I talked about this in live session on Monday night, you're going to make sure that you outline all the text in Adobe Illustrator. Once you have everything the way you want it, once it is perfect, once you've got it all done and you know it's correct, you're going to outline all the text so that when it comes to me and I go to open that Illustrator file, I will not have any trouble opening up that Illustrator file. So do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I pretty much cover it. Is there any questions at all? Now's the time to ask. Got any questions at all?
Not right this moment, no.
Okay. Are you going to be able to handle all this? Are you good? You in good shape?
For the moment, I'm going to get through this lecture and then take it from there.
Okay. Do you need help with anything? You know, I am in Blackboard tonight from 7 o'clock until 11. So I mentioned that for.
Right, I'll be there.
Okay. All right. I'm mentioning this for everybody because I will be there from 7 o'clock until 11 o'clock tonight. That's Blackboard, and you know, I'll help you any way that I can. All right, so that pretty much covers this part of the assessment. And they actually call it assignment. Now they're calling it assessment. So I get confused because I see assignment and then week 4 assessment. So I don't know. Anyway, we're good with this one. Let's go back to this for a second. So basically, you know, you're going to produce an image. Here's one of my images. Okay, there's just an image right there. And here's another image. This is what I'm going to be working on tonight. I want to do one more of these tonight to make sure everybody did it. Everybody understands this. So I've actually done 2 of these things, okay? And I took it to Behance. You know where Behance is, right? You have a Behance site, Tamara? You got anything on your Behance site, by the way?
Yeah, I think I have the assignment from when I was in color theory, but I haven't put anything else up on Behance yet.
Okay, do you have stuff that's good enough to go up there? I mean, it's a portfolio site, so you want to make sure that you put stuff up there that's really good. Got some stuff put up?
Not yet.
Yeah? All right, well, so, you know, you're going to go to Behance. You're going to log in. I'm going to go into Behance, create a project, and these are 2 images I produced. Let me see if I can zoom this out. I don't even know how to do this. Let's see if I'm going to do that. No, that's search. How do you zoom this thing out? Can you do it? Guess not. I guess it's just too big. So anyway, these are 2. Here's what these 2 pieces are. These are just demonstrations I did to show you, in case you didn't know how easy it is to put something into Behance. I'm currently attending a school, and I'm having a master's degree. I'm going for a master's degree in visual communications, and I'm studying art history. And I had 2 assignments. I had to do one thing. I had to do a piece of propaganda poster from Russia. And I basically created this piece here, which is a propaganda piece, and it's based on Russian design, okay, futurism. And I just basically design this power and then be empowered. And I use the classic, fist that they started in Russia. That's militant kind of thing. But Russians, they started doing this. They did this first. So anyway, that's what that one is. And then this one down here, I had to create a piece for that represents Art Deco. So I had to create a poster that was Art Deco themed. So I did the Spirit of Adventure, April 25th, 1943. Adventure is out there, New York, New York. And I did a very Art Deco-y skyline. So the reason that those images are in there is just so that you understand. Brienne's here. Hi, Brienne. How you doing? I got a couple of questions for you. How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can. I'm fine, thank you. I'm just in a different location that has a dog that's a little restless, so I muted myself. So
all right. I got a question for you. I'm in Behance right now. Do you have any problem dealing with Behance?
No, I've been able to upload pretty okay.
All right. Do you realize that part of your assignment for this week is to create the box and the perfume bottle in 3D and put labels on them and submit it to Behance and send it? Well, let me go back. Yeah, here we go. You're going to send an email to your FPA and CC me with the URL link to your Behance portfolio site where you've uploaded your mock-ups. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The only reason I'm asking is I've had a couple of students ask me. So I'm just trying to make sure that, this is not something that's going to be difficult for anybody to do. The only thing should be difficult to do is your 3D renderings. And I've tried my best through the course of 4 weeks to give you over and over again instruction on how to do that. I mean, you guys both have seen that, right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it again tonight. I think I've given you more than enough instruction on how to do that. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it is very important because these will, in the end, create very nice portfolio pieces for you. And I think it's well worth the effort to do it. Now, again, as I say, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of students that are going to moan and groan about it and may not do it or may not do it right. And, that's on them. But the bottom line is I've tried very hard to go over how to do this and make it seem as simple as it possibly can be so that you guys are not intimidated by it. I mean, it's my goal to make sure that nobody here is intimidated by doing this. And I started right from the first week so that you knew it was coming and you had plenty of opportunities to play with it. And if you messed up, you had the chance to contact me through the course of 3 weeks to get it straightened out. So it should be something by now that you definitely have a grasp on. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then, what question?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. So anyway, those are just 2 things that I uploaded. So, I mean, this is really simple. I'm just going to upload. I got my hot sauce and I got my perfume here. These are not even finished. I don't have the boxes with them. And again, I'm just doing it to show you it's easy. Upload the file. Okay. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to come down to, what is this? I got perfume and hot sauce. So there's hot sauce and open, and there's hot sauce. Hot sauce is in there. Okay. I mean, how hard is that? Not hard, right? Upload file on my desktop. Let's make sure I'm on my desktop, I think. I'm looking for Perfume 3D. There it is. Click on it, open, and voila, there's Perfume 3D. It's immense, way too big. But obviously what you're going to do is you're going to adjust the size. But I mean, can you see how it's done? It's certainly not hard, right?
Right.
Okay, but do me a favor. When you do this, make sure you size these things appropriately. They probably somewhere tell you, I guess if you look under content, let's see what it tells you. Cover. Oh, no, this just gives you names and stuff. Okay, so what you would do is you would make these things smaller. I don't know whether you can edit this. Let me see. Reorder project, add caption, replace image. I'm going to delete the image, and I'm going to delete this image. Why? Because they're too big. I should really delete all these images because they're too big, and I should make them smaller. I'm going to delete all the images, and then what I'll do is I'll go back in later, and I will make them all smaller, okay? So that's an important thing. Have you guys, okay, here's a question. I don't use one of the reasons I went to the trouble of doing this is because I don't really use Behance. I have a website, and I have all my portfolio stuff on Behance. The only reason I started fooling around with Behance tonight is because I saw that you guys had to do it, and I wanted to make sure that you wouldn't have any trouble doing that. You guys have put up Behance stuff to Behance before, right? Tamara said she has. Brianne, have you?
Yes, we've had to do it for a few classes.
Okay, so my question is, were you given any specific size constraints when you went to do it? Were you told that, you know, it's got to be 300 pixels high, or did anybody tell you that?
No.
What size it had to be?
No, it just pretty much loads, and then I think you can adjust the size how you want, and then you can put labels in it and stuff.
Oh, really? Well, let me go back for a minute because I didn't see that. Let me just upload a file. Hold on. Let me go back here and let me upload my, where the heck are you? Perfume 3D, open. Okay, so there's Perfume 3D. It's immense. Where do you upload this? Where do you change the side? You don't do it here. Reorder project, add caption, replace image, delete. Where do you know where you, I don't mean to seem like an idiot. I just have never used this. Edit styles and layout?
You might be able to there, but I think you go to continue, and each one, it tells you like different things that you can do. I'm not sure about the size because mine have never loaded that big.
Yeah, mine, well, I think it's because the image is big, and that's what I think it is. It needs to be photo grid, Creative Cloud, add text, embed media, upload files, delete image. All right, so let's see. Got a minute? Is it all right if I do something for a minute here?
Yeah, it's your class.
Okay.
Good. I'm opening up Photoshop real quickly, and I'm going to open up Perfume. I want to get a sense of how big it is. And once I get a sense of how big I had this open already. Sign in required. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? What is this nonsense? Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is ridiculous. How is this happening to me? All right, you know what? Let me see. Let me go to the artboard. Let me open up my artboards. Let me see. This is ridiculous. Window, artboards. And let me change the size of this artboard options. Let's make this height. Let's make it 30 inches. Wow, that's immense. Let's make it 6. Let's make it 9 inches. Okay. Okay, and then actually that's, I made it 9 inches, but I made the thing, I didn't adjust it right. Let me fix this. Bring this in like that, and bring this in like that, this about like that. And let me select this whole thing. And let's bring this thing down in size until it fits on there. Shift and Alt, let's bring it in until it fits. There we go, and that fits. And actually, I think I've whacked it all out now. I have edit, undo, scale. All right, let me see if I can do this by a reduction. Let's bring it down to 20%. Yeah, and it whacks everything out. All right, so let me see, cancel. Let's see, here's what I'm going to do. Let me do this, I got a better idea. Let me delete this thing. Let's go File, New. And I'm going to just create a piece that is, let's say the width, let's say the height is, let's see, 9, and the width is 4. Hit create. Okay, and let me go File, Place. I got an idea here. This might work. Let's go to the desktop, and let's find my Perfume. Place. There's my Perfume. There it is. And it is immense. Okay. There's your problem. So I'm going to make this thing smaller. Let me get it on here. This is a JPEG, by the way. I'm just doing this because I'm having trouble with Photoshop and I don't want to get all bogged down in that nonsense. So I'm actually doing something that I normally wouldn't be doing, which is doing this in Illustrator. Okay. So there it is. That's on that page right there. Okay. There we go. That should do it. All right, so now I'm going to go File, Export, and just export this as, and I'm going to call this, this is bottle, bottle, and it's a JPEG. And let's go to my desktop, and let's export it, and hit OK. Oh, and by the way, let me get this out of here now. And this thing, oh, unbelievable. Oh, unbelievable. This, I can't even get rid of this now, can I? It's ridiculous. Okay, so let's upload files. Let's see what happens now if I upload files. I'm looking for bottle, right? Perfume, what was it? Where were you? Bottle, there it is. Open, there. And it's still pretty big, isn't it? Yeah, that's still pretty big. I guess I need to make it smaller. Well, anyway, it is. Does that seem big? Was it as big as it was, or it's smaller, isn't it?
It's smaller, but it doesn't, I mean, and this section, it usually looks pretty big, but when you actually finish setting it up, like when you go to continue and everything
Yeah.
on your front Behance page, it doesn't look like that.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, anyway, I don't want to get all bogged down in this. You seem to know what you're doing. The bottom line is that it's part of the assignment that you have. And again, as I say, I just have never really used this very much because I just don't. This is the first time I've actually had to verify that students, oh, this is going to drive me nuts. These phones. Yeah. I just have to verify that you guys are uploading these things. So I just wanted to make sure I made a point of that. Okay, so that you guys understand we're okay with this?
Yes.
No questions?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's go into this. All right, so let's get rid of that thing because this is nothing. Save changes, no. Okay, and let's go file revert. Let's revert this, get it back to where it was. There we go. Okay, so here's the deal. I am going to do the perfume bottle. I did last night, I should say Monday night, I did the wine bottle. Have either, Briam, I'm trying to remember, were you here on Monday?
I was.
Okay, so how did that go for you, the bottle? Did that work out real good? Did I do a good job with that for you?
Yes.
Okay, Tamara, you haven't seen that yet, but again, what I did on Monday was I demonstrated how to do a bottle. And again, I tried to do it as simple as I could. Now, here's the thing I want to point out. This Giorgio Armani graphic, or this bottle, this is actually a flask type bottle. And we really can't make a very efficient flask type model in 3D. What we would have to try to do, and it may or may not work out, is you would have to try to extrude the body and revolve the top and place the two together. And sometimes that doesn't work out. So what I did was, and again, this is what I want you to understand. Nobody is saying to you that, you know, your bottle has to look exactly like the bottle that you're copying. You're using it as a starting point, a jumping off point, a place to begin creatively. And from there, you can go ahead and you can build your bottle any way that you need to build your bottle. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions about it?
No.
No.
Okay. So a couple of things. First of all, I have a couple of layers here. And what I did was this is the original bottle. That's what the original bottle looked like. Now, I wanted to make the bottle a little bit darker. Actually, now that I look at this, I don't really need to do that. I did this, and it made it darker, and I don't actually need it that way. But this is basically my bottle, so I can even throw this away if I want. This is my tracing model. This is the thing that I'm going to use to trace from. And we've been through this before. You saw me do this with the bottles, the other bottles and the boxes and all that stuff. So, so now what I got here is I got my profile layer. This is the layer that I'm actually going to build my profile on. And once I have my profile, I'll extrude it into 3D. Then what I did was I created symbols. These are my symbols. Now, I don't know whether you remember or not. Brienne, I think, were you the one that did the really fancy bottle that kind of looked like kind of like faceted bottle?
With the, yeah, it had the.
It's got a round top that's faceted and the bottom was faceted?
Yes.
Okay, that was you.
Correct.
Okay, you still have that?
I do.
Are you still doing it that way?
I'm working on it, trying.
Okay, well, what does that mean? Successful or unsuccessful, having trouble?
Well, I'm not having trouble. I just haven't decided if that's what I want to do.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, the reason that I'm bringing this up was because you and I had a discussion about the graphics that went on the surfaces. If you remember, I told you that the process tends to break apart sections, and sometimes it does and sometimes it don't. And in yours, it did. You remember?
Right.
Right. So what I did, let me just quickly show you. I have this element here, okay? I have this element here. These are separate elements, okay? And if I were working on yours, Brienne, what I would do is I would place this element, of course, it's a little bit thicker than your sections, but I'm just trying to give you a general idea. This would be placed on one section. This would be placed on another section. Remember we talked about this?
Right.
Right. And then this guy right here, right there, this would be placed up on the cap. So I actually got 3 symbols that would go on 3 sections of a bottle if I'm in that situation. Now here's what happened, just so that you understand, because you're going to see me do this, but I'm explaining it to you. So when I went to actually render this thing and when I went to actually assemble it, it turned out that I did get one big surface here. I didn't get sections like I thought I would. I got one big surface here. So what I did was I took that element right there and that element right there, and I created a new symbol. There's my new symbol. And that's the symbol that I'm going to use for the front of my container. Okay.
See, that's what I had a question about.
What's that?
I wasn't exactly sure how to make the symbols.
All right.
So that was one of the things that I was going to ask you about when I came into Blackboard tonight.
All right. So if you want to make a symbol, very simple. Let's do something. Let's do something. Let me come in here and let me create a new symbol real quick. Brienne, you know how to make a symbol, don't you?
Yeah, after you make your design, just drag it into the symbol section.
Okay, let me come in here and let me make a symbol here. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to choose to make a rounded rectangle, something like that. Okay, the only thing is I don't like the rounded corners so much, so I'm going to bring them all the way out. And I'm doing that with the corners by holding the mouse down, and I have an up arrow and a down arrow in the lower right corner. And I'm using the down arrow to make it go square and the up arrow to make it go round. I think that's probably what I want right there, okay? And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, let's see what I want to do with this. I think I'm going to make that, I'm going to make it white just for the heck of it. And I am going to remove the stroke. So that's just a little white graphic, right? As a matter of fact, you know what? Before I remove the stroke, let me place the other elements. So there is my little, this is going to be my new symbol, okay? This is the first step in making a symbol. Just made a basic shape. That's easy enough, isn't it, Tamara?
Yes.
Right. Then I'm going to take this G and this A, which is an already existing symbol. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to drag that and I'm going to drop that over top of this. And I have to do this. I have to go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. The reason I did that is because they were created or dragged out before I created that shape. They ended up behind it. Now what I need to do is I need to open this symbol up. Let me go into here, and let me double click on that. Let me see if I can get this thing to go. There we go. Okay, and I need to move that over, about like that. Okay. So now what I can do is I can come out of it, okay? And then I can take that symbol, let me go back out. I can take that symbol and I can center that symbol inside my little white graphic shape. Actually, the best way to do it is this. Select both of them and go to the Align and align them that way and that way, vertically and horizontally center. So now what I have is I have these gray letters and I have this white shape with the black line on it, okay? You understand,
Okay.
Tamara?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what I want to do maybe is, I think maybe what I want to do is I might want to make that more of a square and less of a rectangle. I'm going to hold down the shift key. Yeah, I got the right one. Hold down the shift key. And let's see if I can just drag this thing up. Yeah, let's drag it up like that. Yeah, that might be a little bit better. And let's just align them like that. Okay, I think that's actually better. Then I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to remove the black, just like that. So what do I have? I have a rectangular shape, and I got the letters GA. Okay, you with me so far?
Yes.
All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply that graphic to the cap. So I need to make it into a symbol to do that. These are already symbols. I already made them into symbols. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to make that a symbol. And all I do, once I have this thing created, all I do is I click on it. I select it, obviously. I got to make sure everything that I'm going to use in my symbol is selected, right?
Right.
Click and drag and drop it into the symbols panel. And the symbol option dialog box comes up. Okay?
Okay, that's simple enough.
Yeah. Name it. I'm going to call this Cap 2. Cap 2. The export type I want is a graphic. I don't want a movie clip. I'm making a graphic. Okay?
Got
And see, movie clip and graphic are tags for Flash import. There is no difference between these two symbols in Illustrator. So essentially, if you really want the solid, dead-on truth, you can go either way with movie clip or graphic. I have a tendency of being a little bit of a fusspot when it comes to stuff like this, and I happen to know that I'm not dealing with movie clips and I'm not dealing with Flash, so I tend to just name everything as export type graphic as opposed to movie clip. But I just want you to know that if you decide to do this without changing it from movie clip to graphic, it says it right here. There is no difference between these two symbols in Illustrator, okay?
Got it.
Did that confuse you or did that help you?
No, that helped.
Okay. So let's hit OK, and there you go. Now it's in there, okay? It looks different than this. You know why? This is very important for you to understand. This is what I want you to see. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to create this rectangle just like that. And I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Send to Back, okay? Now I'm going to make this red. Watch what I do here.
Doesn't one of them have a white background and one's transparent?
Yeah, and I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to make this thing red, right here. Look. Okay, and I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to move it over here. Whoops, I got the two things selected. Let me deselect that. There we go. Move this over here and watch this. Okay, there you see, this has got a transparent background. I have a transparent background on this. And what I did essentially was I didn't put a background on it. I just had the text, and I used that text as a symbol. That means it has no background. Is that clear?
Yes.
I can make a symbol just with text. And again, it's the same thing with this. This is just basically text. Now, I don't know what happened with this thing. Let's see if I can go. Let me click on that and go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Let's see if I can get that to where I can show it to you. There you go. So that's what that one looks like. See what I mean? Now, the difference is that this thing is white and that thing is gray. I could, if I wanted to, I could actually punch a hole through that white and make it so that you could actually see the bottle graphic coming through there. But I thought in this case, just having it light gray like that would work as well. Okay, so you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are clear on this? You got no problems with any of that so far, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is part of the process, so you should have some idea of what I'm doing, and I'm trying to explain it to you, and I'm trying to give you some idea of, where we're heading with this. All right, so I end up with a bunch of these little symbols in here, and the real symbols, let me go back to my symbols panel. This symbol right here is that alone, and I don't need that symbol, so I'm going to delete it. Actually, I don't think I can now that I think about it. I can't do that because I actually used it in that symbol right there. So if I do that, watch what happens. Let's see. One or more of the symbols are used and cannot be deleted until their instances are expanded or deleted. That's what I thought. Hit cancel. What I did, and go back to what I was saying to you before, this was my first symbol. That was my second symbol. What I did was I determined that I wasn't going to be able to use them as separate elements. So I simply took that symbol. I'll show you what I did. Let me get this out of the way. I took this symbol and I put that symbol something like that. And I took that symbol and I put it something like that. And then I selected both of them and I went up to the align panel and I aligned them vertically or horizontally like that. See? And if you take a look, they're very close to the other one. Let me get them selected. And you'll see that they're pretty close to what I have over here. See what I mean? This one is a little bit off, but it's controls. You can move it out of the way. Once I had them both selected, they are both symbols already. I clicked on them and I dragged them in and I created my third symbol, which is right there, combined. So you understand how I did that? I actually used two symbols, combined them together, and made a new symbol. And I just want you to know that you could do these things. It doesn't hurt you if you do these things. However, if I change this, if I went in and changed either one of those, what would happen is it would impact that one right there. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not getting confused by any of this?
No.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure you're not. And Chakise joined us. Hi, Chakise. How are you?
I'm doing good, and it's Shakis.
Huh, Chakise?
Yes.
Okay. How you doing with your work? Are you okay?
Kind of. I wanted you to check it out because I'm not sure if I'm doing the assignment like I'm supposed to. I couldn't really find a mock-up, and I end up just creating the bottles like you showed us.
Well, you create a. Oh, you couldn't find a mock-up for what?
The assignment requires for us to do a mock-up.
Oh, well, for what though? A bottle, right?
Right. Well, I'm doing the wine bottle, yes.
Yeah, you can go online and look up wine bottles. Do a Google search for wine bottles. Didn't I do this, guys? In my didn't I do this in one of my lessons? Tell you how I got the bottles online. Tamara, Brienne, did I do that?
Yeah, I got my bottle offline.
But
But
did I explain to you that's how I did? I thought I did.
To do okay, so maybe I'm confused what a mock-up is because in previous classes, the mock-up is like if you grab a billboard and you put your thing, embed your
you
image.
can do it that way, but the assignment is calling for you. And if you remember from week 1, the first thing I did was I showed you how to use the 3D tools to turn an image profile into a revolved bottle. Part of the process is they want you to learn how to do this 3D. And that's why I've been demonstrating. I'm about to demonstrate it again here. I just haven't got to it yet.
It's okay. That's what I did. The mock-up word was confusing me of if I had to actually get something off.
I totally understand what you're saying. But if you read the assignment, I don't know. Let me see here. Go back to assignment here. Where are you? Let's see here. See.
Use a Photoshop.
So I don't like using Photoshop. And as a matter of fact, I tried to use Photoshop just now. My Photoshop isn't letting me in. I'm having trouble with Photoshop. I find that you can do these models very well in Adobe Illustrator, and that's why I've been demonstrating how to do this in Illustrator, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do this again in Illustrator right now. And again, if you've done it in Photoshop and you want to do it in Photoshop, feel free to do that.
No, I couldn't, and I did mine in Illustrator as well.
Yeah, it's much easier. It really is much easier. So.
I just wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing because.
Well, I'm going to demonstrate it again. And as far as getting the bottles are concerned, here's the thing. I generally just do a Google search and I will look for whatever I'm looking for, whether it's a perfume bottle. I'll just do a Google search for blank perfume bottles and tons and tons and tons of images will come up. And I like to pick bottles that are a front-facing view like this because I use my 3D Revolve to give myself the three-dimensional look. And it's easier to do this with a front view. You've watched my videos, right? Haven't you, Chakis?
Yes.
Yeah, so you've seen how I've done this and I've explained it, right?
Right. And
Okay.
that's what I did, is what you did.
Okay. And it worked for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And did you ever do it before?
No, I'm
No.
very
Did you find it frustrating or did you find it easy?
easy.
Good. And was it because of my demonstration?
Yes.
Good. So that's why I'm doing it. I mean, I'm trying to make you understand this is not that difficult to do. And if you just get a little bit of training as to how to do it, you're off to the races. It can't do everything. This is not a 3D program. It doesn't give you everything that a 3D program can do, but it can give you some pretty slick results. And that's really what this is all about. Learning that this program is powerful and fun. That's really what it is. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So are there any questions before I continue here?
Nope.
All right. So I got my layers panel. And as I was saying to you before, I got this layers panel with my tracing element locked down. I'm on my profile layer, and I call it profile layer because I really need to create profiles of the cap and the bottle to render this as a 3D object. So I'm going to do that on my profile layer. I will make the cap first, and if you know anything about Adobe Illustrator, there's a stacking order of things, and basically the stacking order is whatever you create first comes on top, and you'll have to either send something to the front or move it to the back if you want to change the stacking order. You guys know that, right?
Yes.
All right. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a guide out. And I'm going to find approximately the middle of this bottle. It's right about there. Doesn't have to be dead on middle, but it just has to be generally in the middle. That's probably pretty good. Go to the view menu and go to guides and show guides. So there's my center. All right. So I look at this bottle cap. The bottle cap is pretty square. It's not really rounded corners, although it does have a slight rounding to the corner, wouldn't you say, guys? A little bit?
Yes.
At the top and at the bottom, yeah.
Little tiny bit, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select default black and white, and I'm going to have no fill. So I have no fill, and I have a black line, okay? I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get my rounded rectangle tool. I always want to start my cap further out when I'm using the rounded rectangle because all four of the corners round, and it's easier for me to just click and drag and give myself a shape that I need, something like that. And then I can play around with the corners. Let me get it to a position where I want it, right about there. Then I can play around with the corners using the up arrow and the down arrow. And I can make those corners go squarer or rounder. And I think I want something just about like that, okay? And I screwed up. I accidentally let it go too early. I'm going to just click that and drag it down a little bit, fix it right like that. No big deal. Okay, so now if you look at this, see I got that and a little tiny bit of round to the corner? That's not hard, right?
No.
Anybody could do that. Okay, so now the one other thing I noticed about this is it's very square, but I think what I want to do is I want to make mine a little tapered. So I'm going to click on this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put perspective into this. And what I'm going to do is with the perspective selected, this is my free transform tool, and there's three modes. There's the regular old free transform mode, there's a perspective mode, and there's this free distort mode. Have you ever used any of those two?
No.
Well, they just basically give you some options as to how you can transform this thing. I've got it set on perspective. What perspective is going to do is watch. I'm going to click on the corner point, hold it down, and I'm going to drag it in. You see how it adds perspective to it? See how it's making it taper in on both sides?
Yes.
Yeah. So I let go, and now I have a bottle that slightly tapers in. Look, when I drag it over here, instead of it being square, see it tapers a little bit? Gives it a little bit more character. That's really what it is, okay? So now what I want to do is I want to create, I noticed that it has kind of like a little feature on the side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit, and I'm going to come on here and I'm going to get a regular old rectangle, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag myself a little tiny rectangle, very small, just like that, all right? And I'm going to go edit copy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of these two shapes, my background shape and this little shape that I created. Are you with me so far? Not hard, right?
Right.
Yeah. Go to the window menu, and I'm going to open up Pathfinder and bring Pathfinder over here. And what I want to do is I want to use that shape to erase part of the background shape. I do that by choosing minus front. Now, before I do that, let me just remind you, I created that shape first. I created that shape second right there. So that means that this shape, come on, that shape is sitting in front of that shape right there. Okay? That shape and that shape. That shape is behind that shape. So if I click on minus front, what it does is this. It basically removes part of that shape. Let me get this thing selected, and I get that. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
And then I go edit, paste, and I paste this piece back in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that piece over to about right there. Okay, not too far in, but somewhere like that. And then I'm going to free transform this thing. All right, let me just free transform it a little bit so I make sure I get that thing covering that hole right. That should do it right there. Okay, so now I have that piece and the other piece. See that? And I wanted something like that. Okay, I probably should go a little bit closer, like about like that. Okay, so you see what I got? I got two shapes. One is, okay. So I'm going to select both those shapes, and this time I'm going to unite those shapes. And I end up with something that looks like that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I want a profile. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this back into position right about there. Get it right about where I want it. Right about there is good. Let's see, maybe move it over just a bit. There we go. Okay, and I need this line to end on my guide right there. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get my scissors tool. Remember, the eraser tool is probably what you're going to be seeing, guys. But if you click and go into the erasers tool, there's the knife tool and the scissors tool. I explained to you that the eraser tool erases but makes a closed shape. Do you remember me saying that to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, and also the knife cuts but makes a closed shape. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to make an open shape. To make an open shape, you use the scissors tool, okay? The scissors tool comes out and it looks sort of like that. And I'm going to place that scissors tool right on that line, right at that guide, just like that, as close as I can get it. It's there. And I'm going to click. And it puts that anchor point there, and what that anchor point is telling me is that the line has been cut, okay? It's all you need to know. Do the same thing on this line, get it placed exactly where you want it, right on that line and on that guide. It's a little hard to get to. And when I get it there, click, and now I can come over here, and I can take that piece, and I can delete it, and this is the actual profile that I'm going to use for my cap right there. Okay, you guys think you could do that? No problem?
Yep.
Any questions about it?
No.
No. And because this thing has this tapering shape, it's going to revolve it with a taper. And because it has that little indent right there, it's also going to create something that looks like that. So that's the reason that I've actually went to the trouble of making that shape. Now the problem is, let me show you what the problem is. The problem is that right now, I have that shape in black. All right? Watch what happens. I go to the effect menu. I go to 3D, and I go revolve. And I hit preview, and I get that. Okay? Doesn't look particularly good, does it?
No, you can't see your little effect in the middle.
Yes, you can't. You don't get anything from this. You get it's actually just, it just is so dark that you get nothing out of it. Now I could go in and I could play with lighting and all that, but you know, again, it just tells me that I have a problem here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on OK anyway, because I want to show you something else. Now all I need to do is come in here and I select my my color, bring my stroke forward, and what I can do here, if I want, go into color, and I can choose grayscale on this. And I can take this thing and I can start dragging this thing down until I get a lighter gray, until I see my my detail there. See my detail? And I'm going to try to bring it to about 50. Let's bring it down to 50 because I think 50 is probably pretty good. Let me see what 50 looks like. That's not bad. I can go with 50. Okay? 50 is okay. And there's my, let's go, let's deselect this and let's go view guides, hide guides for a second. There's my cap. If I hide my light layer, there's my cap. Not hard, right? And it actually looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Any problems with this? You guys think you could pull that off?
Yes.
Yeah, right? I thought you could. So we're going to do the same thing now. We're going to come back in here and bring our background. Let's go view, fit artboard and window. And what I'm going to now do is select this thing. And I'm going to go to my Pathfinder. Let's see if I got it out here. Not Pathfinder, I mean my appearance. There's my appearance. Let me close appearance. What is appearance? That's this guy. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to hide my 3D revolve. Okay, and I'll deselect. So what I did essentially was I have this object here, and it already has a 3D revolve on it. I'm not throwing it away. I'm just basically hiding it. I'm making it hide. And this appearance panel is what I use to do that. Matter of fact, from this point forward, if I want to play around with my 3D elements, I use the appearance panel to do that. You got that? Are we clear on that?
Yes.
I am.
Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is go to the view menu. Let's go to guides and let's show the guides again. And okay, so now I'm going to deselect this guy here. Make sure I'm on the right layer. That's locked. That's right. I'm good. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get my rounded rectangle tool and I'm going to come up right to about there because I can adjust this. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out another rectangular shape, something like that. Now I'm going to play around with the corners of this, and I want the corners to be a little bit more rounded. I think I want the shoulders like that. Okay? You see how I got, maybe even a little bit more. A little bit shoulder like that. Now, what I can do too is I can come in here and I can click on this corner, okay, and I can drag that corner, and I can make, it's actually, I think I got to hold down a control key to do this. Let's see which one it is. I don't do this all that often. Let's see. This one? No, it's, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure which one it is. There we go. Okay, I got the top one. I got the top one going. That's not the one I want to do. Click on it and then drag it. That's it. Okay, so you see what I did? I clicked and dragged it. I clicked on it first and then clicked and drag it. And it's just, look, see what it's doing? See what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay, does it make sense to you what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually did this by, let's go edit undo. So you make sure that you understand that what I do is I select the object. I got my direct selection tool, and I first of all, hold on. There. It's selected with the direct selection tool. Then what I do is I click on the corner that I want, which is that corner right there. Click on it first. Then I click it again. And then I drag it until I get what I want. And you know what? To make this thing interesting, let me show you. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do two things. First of all, I need to pull this thing out a little further because I made a mistake of not going far enough with it. So let me drag this thing over to about here. Okay, to make this thing a little more interesting, this is the actual shape. See the shape that I'm rendering? I got a slight corner here and I got a big corner down there. I'm hoping that this will make an interesting looking bottle. Do you understand what I'm doing?
Yes.
All right. Let's move this back into position. And then what I'm going to do is, with it selected, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab my perspective tool and I'm going to very carefully hold that corner down and I'm going to drag this thing until it comes over like that. All right. Now let's move this thing out. Let's see what my shape looks like. So there's the actual bottle shape that I'm going for. You get it? It doesn't look anything like this because, first of all, this is a what you might call like a what would you call it? Like a little. It's like an actual little flat bottle, semi-flat bottle. This is going to end up being a round bottle. Okay. So let me move this back into position right about here, and once again, get my scissors tool. And I'm going to come over here very carefully, and I'm going to cut that there, and I'm going to cut that. Oops, I missed it. You got to make sure you hit it right, just right. And there we go. And then I'm going to take this thing, move it over to here, so you can see. And I could actually extend this and make this a bottle as well. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just put this over here. This is my shape. That's the shape that I want to use. What I think I want to do then is I want to make it light like this color. So with it selected, I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to give it that very light color, and I'm going to change it so that it's just on that stroke. So you understand what I did there, guys? Did I fool you with that one?
Nope, I got you.
I
Okay.
got it.
Yeah, and I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to come over here carefully, and I'm going to click on that line. And I don't know whether I got it or not. Let me see. Yeah, there. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, there. So now, look, this is what I got. I got that line there. See, it's a very light gray. Almost can't see it, right?
Yep.
And then we got this over here. Okay, and now I'm going to hide that background layer for a second. Okay, so you see what we got?
Yep.
Now, remember what I told you. As we build these things, we have a stacking order. This guy here was made after this guy here. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that this guy goes behind this guy so that we see it in a proper stacking order, right?
Right.
And you understand what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
All right.
On top of your bottle.
Yeah. So I'm going to make sure it's selected. And you know what? Since I'm going to actually make this as a duplicate bottle, select that too. I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Okay, now to make absolutely certain that I got this right, I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Now I have to have these things in the proper order. Now I'm going to click on this guy first, and I'm going to go up to Effect, and then and here's what you need to know. Since I applied a revolve just a few minutes ago, if you look up at the top here, it says Apply Revolve. Do you know what that means?
Is it going to add it to the top?
It's going to add the very same revolve that I used on the top to this element. In other words, it's got kind of a memory. It remembers that I just made a revolve, and that revolve is that revolve right up there. That is going to be the same revolve that I just put on the cap. Okay? That's what that means. If I go to revolve, what that will do is it'll open up the revolve dialog box, and it will allow me to put a different revolve on it. So I have a choice. I could either go to 3D revolve here, which doesn't make any sense because I got apply revolve right there or revolve right there. What is most important for you to understand is once you apply a revolve to, say, the cap, more than likely, you're going to want the same revolve to go on the bottle so it matches the cap. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So to make sure that happens, you just hit Apply Revolve. And you see I get my revolve. Now I can click on this guy right here, and I can go into my Appearance panel. Let me go to my Appearance panel. And I can bring back my 3D Revolve cap. And there is my bottle and my cap. Now, if I want, I can move my cap down a little bit, getting it better positioned. And I don't exactly like the look of this bottle. So what I would probably do with it is I would probably make it somewhat narrower. I would probably do that. And I think that actually and I might even do this. I might even actually take the bottom and I might even stretch it out a little bit. I think that's a much better look. What do you guys think? Do you like that?
That's pretty cool.
Okay. So do you think you could do that? That's the first step. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's not hard, right?
Nope.
Okay, so now we have our bottles revolved and we're all set. Let's go to the view menu, let's go to guides, and let's hide the guides because we no longer need the guides. And by the way, this little thing over here, if I wanted to, I could go to effect, apply revolve, and I could apply a revolve to that. But since it's backwards, I'd have to go edit undo. Let's see if I can undo that. And let's come over here and let's reflect this thing.
It looked like your table stand for your.
Yeah. Now let's see what happens with this thing reflected back on this in this direction. Let's see if that corrects the problem. Effect, apply revolve, and it does. Okay. So there's that little piece. And if you wanted to, you know, you could make this a better bottle by doing the same thing. And what's great about this is you can actually make these changes. So you can make these changes once this thing is, see? I mean, look at that. I got two bottles now. If I don't like that particular bottle, I can go with this bottle. However, I don't like that bottle, so I'm deleting it. This is the bottle I'm going to go with. There's your bottle. Now, there's nothing wrong with that bottle. You can submit a bottle that looks like this. But what you want to do now is two things. You want to come in here now and you want to make it look like there's contents in this bottle, don't you? You don't want it to be a contentless bottle. This bottle is supposed to be transparent. And actually, what I think maybe we need to do with this is let's click on this bottle and let me come in here and let's recolor this slightly. I'm going to go towards blue. I need to go towards blue. And I think that's probably pretty good, except that I want to get away from the gray. I want to get it more into the blue. And let's go to a truer blue, like that's good. Hit OK. There, OK. Now you see how that looks more like a transparent bottle. The color is right. I just need to do a couple of things to make it look transparent fully. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, any questions?
No.
All right. Now, here's what I want to do. Once again, I'm going to come in here, select both of these guys. Going to go into my appearance panel, hide the revolve on both of them. Okay? Now, what I want to do here is I want to come in and I want to see if I can make some content. And that content will be fluid inside the bottle. So what I'm going to do is I select my bottle, and I'm going to go Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place. So what I did was I made a duplicate of the bottle, right? I got a top, I got a graphic, profile, and there's one sitting on top of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move that top profile over a little bit. Over a little bit. That's too much. You see what I'm doing? Watch when I select both of them. You see what I'm doing? Moving it over?
Yes.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the bottom here. Okay? And I'm going to very carefully use the direct selection tool. I hope I'm getting the right one. And I'm going to select both of those. And I'm just going to move them up a little bit. Yeah, see? See how I'm doing that?
Yes.
Now, if you do this right, you should get something fairly even going around it. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you grab?
The direct selection tool, and then I very carefully went in and clicked on the anchor points that are associated with that line. And I basically moved them up. I held the shift key down because there's two anchor points. There's that anchor point right there. Hold the shift key down, that anchor point right there. And then I just used the up arrow tool until it went up a little bit and it evened out with what I have over here. You got that? Is that clear?
Right, and but you're doing the inside line?
Yeah, the inside line. You got to be careful when you do it because there's two lines there. Now, again, you just have to be careful. All right?
Okay.
You clear enough on it? You think you're okay?
I believe so.
All right.
I know where to find you.
Yeah, I go to the view menu. I'm going to go to guides and show guides. Now, you see how that line is a little bit beyond that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to use the the direct selection tool again, and I'm going to click on just that point right there, and I'm using the right arrow to move that anchor point over until it is in the same position as the one for the bottle, which is right about there. They're in about the same position. This is actually right now. I think they're probably good. Okay?
I have a question on that. Do you have to hold down the shift key or when you're moving it back over? Because when I did that, it like moved my whole bottle over.
That's because you probably you didn't select the individual anchor point. If I click on this and if I click there, the whole thing selects. And if I hold down the shift key, you see what it does? It moves the whole thing over. Okay? Control Z to undo it. What you need to do this is you need to use this tool right here, not your regular selection tool. Where did it go? Did it come out? Let me see if I can. Come on. What? Now what? Oh, I see. Yeah, there it is. It was sitting in front of it. So you have what's known as the group selection tool and the direct selection tool. Do you guys know what the difference between a group selection tool and the direct selection tool is?
The group selection lets you pick multiple and the direct select lets you pick individual.
Yeah. So if you have 4 or 5 objects, they're all grouped together, you can go in and click one of the elements within the grouped object. If you click on the direct selection tool, what it will allow you to do is it will allow you to select individual anchor points only. And that's what I'm doing. I'm using that tool to select those anchor points. So what I want to do now is I want to take this. Are we clear?
Yeah.
All right. So this down here is pretty good. I'm going to come up to the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go way up to about here. And again, I'm going to come in. I'm going to get my scissors tool. And I'm going to click right about there. And I'm going to cut that line right there. Okay? And then I'm going to take this top area and I'm going to delete it. That leaves me with my last anchor point being right there. Do you see it?
Could you redo that? Because it's really light, so it's hard to see what you're doing.
Edit, undo clear. Edit, undo scissors. This is my outer line. This is the one that is going to be the outside of the bottle. Okay. This is the element that's going to be the content inside the bottle, which is my perfume. So what I want to do is I don't want it to come all the way to the top. I want it to end somewhere right around here. So what I do is I get my scissors tool and I come to right about there and I click. And that cuts that line. So that when I click there, I can delete it. And if I come over here and click on this, you see where my end anchor point is?
Right.
Okay, so what I now do is I come over here at my pen tool and I click on that anchor point. And now I've reattached to that anchor point and I'll come over and I'll hold down my shift key and I'll click and now I've created a line that runs out to my guide. This is my inside. And as a matter of fact, now that I look at this, let's go Control Z and let's go Control Z and Control Z. And Control Z, because I think I actually went too high. So let me undo this. Let me go back in and let me go a little bit lower. I think what I want to do actually is go to here and not so high. I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'll go back and do it again. So I'm over that center piece that's going to be my perfume. I'm going to click. Now I'm going to delete that. And then I'm going to get my pen tool and there's an anchor point right there. See it? When you sit over top of it, it actually shows you there's an anchor point there. Can you see the little square thing popping up?
Yes.
That's telling you there's an anchor point. So when I click on it, okay, now I'm attached to that line with my pen tool. See? Look. See, I'm attached to that line?
Yes.
Now I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm just going to come over to my guide right there, and I'm going to click, and I've created a top for my perfume inside. The perfume inside, just for the heck of it, I'm going to color that a yellow color. I'm going to go with something like a yellow color, like that. Hit OK. And now I have my perfume. Now, again, the perfume is in front of everything, all right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to select all 3 of these things right now. And I'm going to go back into, let's go to Effect. And let's go, actually, I just want to go here and I want to revolve these guys. There's my revolve, okay? There's my revolve. And let's go View, Fit Artboard and Window. Now what I need to do is I need to take the cap, click on the cap, Object, Arrange, bring to front. And now you see what I have? I have a bottle here, okay? And I have my contents here. The problem is, though, watch this when I drag this out of the way. You see what it is? It's not transparent. So what you need to do, Edit Undo, is I need to make that transparent so it looks like it's inside the bottle. Is that clear to you guys?
Yes.
So there's my transparency panel. I don't know what way to go with this yet. I have to figure it out. So I have these blend modes right here. And I got a bunch of different ones. I don't know which one will work. So what I'm going to do is spend a few minutes and experiment with them. Click on that one. And I don't quite like that. Multiply. That looks a little bit odd. Color burn. That looks a little bit odd. Lighten. Not happy yet. Screen. One of these hopefully will work. Color dodge. No good. Overlay. Overlay isn't too bad, except it's a little bit weak. And there's soft light. That's probably a good one. Here, hard light. That's not too bad. Hard lights. See, you can see. Can you see that there's content in there?
Yeah.
That's the idea. Let's try a couple more. Go to hue. Hue's not too bad either. Saturation. No, you don't see nothing with saturation. Color. Color is not bad. Or luminosity. No. I think probably the best one was, where was it? Hard light. Hard light or soft light. I think, what do you like better? Hard light or soft light?
Soft.
You like the soft light better? That you don't like as much? Soft light. You like that?
Yeah, the soft light looks good.
All right, so we'll let it go at soft light right now. All right, so that leaves me with, so you understand what I'm doing. I'm essentially trying to create two shapes. One shape shows the actual bottle and one shows the content inside it. I don't know whether it's possible. Let's see if I do something like this. If I click on this, if I come in here, let's see if I change the color. Let's see what happens. Interesting. Let's see if I make it a little bit darker, what happens. Let's go a little bit redder, and let's go a little bit darker. I'm just playing right now. There, okay, how's that? Too much? You guys think that's too much?
No, not really.
You think that's okay?
I mean, yeah, because I'm just saying that because have you ever seen the outside of a jute bottle?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay, so we'll leave it like that. That doesn't hurt anything. That leaves me with one thing, and that is applying my. So you guys think you could do this? This is not a problem, right?
No, it's not a problem. But you did to get the different features like multiply and stuff like that. You said that's under what panel?
Transparency. Window, transparency. I'll open it again. Hold on. Window, transparency. And you have two things that you could work with here. You could either have your blending modes, see it?
Mm-hmm.
And there are a bunch of blending modes in there. And the best way to do this is to sort of experiment with it slightly. Or you could go with opacity. Opacity works in a similar way, except that what you could do is go to normal. And what opacity would do is opacity would do this. It would just make it partly, I don't have it selected. So let me just get it selected first. If I can, there we go. Okay, soft light. Let me bring it back to normal. See how that looks normally?
Right.
All right, so the other way to go would be like this, where you make it partially transparent. And you get a similar look. The only problem is I don't know. We'll experiment with this in a minute. So here's what I want to do. Let me go Object. Let's go to Object, Hide Selection. Now what I want to do is I want to apply my graphics to these two elements right here. That's the only thing we haven't done yet. And then after we do that, we'll play around with that content for that bottle. So let's click on this guy first. And let's go into our appearance panel. And see, that's a 3D revolve. So let me bring the 3D revolve back and hit preview. All right. And let's go into map art. And what we want to do now is, and this is where we run into problems because there's like 18 surfaces here. This is going to be nuts. Let's see if I can find those surfaces that I'm looking for. That's the surface I'm looking for, but I think number 4 is the back side of that, and I want the front. So I'm going to keep going. Look at, you see all the different surfaces? See how this is tricky? Here we go. I think we're coming up the front now. Watch this. And I think it's that one right there. And let's come in and let's get our cap 2. And there it is. See cap 2? Look at that. And now I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to place cap 2 somewhere on the front where I'd like it, which is probably somewhere like that. How do you like that? Does that look okay? And I can click shade artwork, and you see what it does by shading artwork?
That looks good.
You see, by shading the art, so I actually just place this thing and size it. This actually looks pretty good, but I can make this a little smaller if I want. See, I make it a little bit smaller, and then I have to reposition it slightly. But once I get it where I want it, I'm going to probably say that that's pretty good right there. Let me see, maybe over a little bit. That's pretty good right there. Hit OK, and hit OK. And look, there's your graphic on that piece. Come on, that's not hard, is it?
Nope.
All right. So now what we want to do is the same thing with the background or with the bottle. So we're going to click the bottle, double click on 3D Revolve, hit preview, and map art. Once again, this one, strangely enough, there's only 10 surfaces on this one, but it's the same basic idea. What you're going to do is you're just going to go through your surfaces until you find the surface that you want to apply your graphic to. The first one, I think, is the backside. Now, if you had a label, this is what's cool about this. If we created a double-sided prototype, if you had a label for the back, you could put the label on the back, you could put the label on the front, and then you could show a back view and a front view. I didn't do that. I'm only doing one, but you understand you could do that, right? Because that's what these surfaces enable you to do. That, right? You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. And if you want, I mean, you could put things on these surfaces too if you want. I'm just making this simple, but you could go further with this and place other stuff. There's my front. Let's go in and let's find my combined. I named these things so I understand it. That's the combined. That's the one that has the Giorgio and that poor Ham combined. So I click on combined. There it is. See it? Coming in. I'm going to take this thing and drag it into position, and I'm going to place it about where I want it, and it actually looks like it might be a little bit smaller than I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. That's probably pretty good. And then I'm just going to place it, get it placed where I want it, get it really close to where I want it to be. That's probably not bad right there. What do you guys think? Does that look okay?
Yeah.
And if you want, you can shade artwork again, and then hit OK, and hit OK. And there you have your label on your container and your label on your cap. That's it. Real simple, isn't it? Any problems?
No, not one.
There. Okay. There's your problem. This is the thing that I'm trying to make you understand. The contents are not transparent until you make them transparent. And when you put the contents like we did, this is what you get. That's why what we have to do is we have to explore the possibility of working with blend modes, okay? What we could do is this, and then combine it with this. See, look. So actually I got darken, and I'm combining it with this to make it light. So that's one way to go, okay?
I think it looks better that way.
All right, well, see, the reason I'm saying this might be the way to go is because you got a little bit more control with this, because you can take this thing, let's see what multiply looks like. See, I like multiply. So the reason I like multiply is you get a much greater sense of depth to this container.
Mm-hmm.
Multiply, and then what you could do is come in here and you could start playing with the opacity. Now, you're not playing with the opacity of the container, you're playing with the capacity or the opacity of the content, which is that artificial stuff that we created that looks like the perfume. So you're just going to keep dragging this thing down until you reach a point with it that you like. You want it to be light. You want it to be there, but you want it to be light. You just keep going down with it, going down with it, and going down with it until it gets to where you want it to be. And I think that's probably pretty good right there. What do you think? Okay. That right there is your container. If you want, you can take this thing and you could actually move it down a little bit like that. And you get a better look at the shoulder up there. And this kind of looks like it's closer to the bottom because that's sometimes it's like that. There you go. All right. What do you think? Can you handle that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I got two things. We have a half hour. I have several people that have submitted pieces for me to do critiques of. Are any of you guys those people that submitted?
No, I'm not. I'm not there yet.
Okay. I know that one of you said that you had a. Which one of you?
Bree.
Oh, Bree, you have one up there?
Yeah, my critique was in there.
Okay, I'm gonna do that right now. I guess though, before I do that, I think one of you said they had the question for me. Did you want to ask me that question now? Did you want to show me something now? We'll do that now before I do the critiques.
I think that was me just checking to make sure I did the right thing.
Okay, well, did you?
I believe so. Yeah, I did what you just did.
Okay. Well, if you did what I did and you got the result that looks right, then you're good. You should be good to go.
Okay.
All right. I guess. I mean, you want to show me? Do you think you did it right?
Sure. I'll show.
You want to show it to me?
Sure.
All right. Well, then what I'll do is I'll stop sharing and you can share and you can show me, and that will be your critique. Did you submit anything for critique?
No, I didn't. I didn't have time to do it.
Okay. Well, then you know what? If you want to do that, that'll be your critique. You can share what you have and I'll look at it and I'll talk about what you have right there. And then I'll move on to the other critiques. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Go ahead. Now you can start sharing.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead. These look great. These look great. What do you guys think?
I like it.
She made me look like an amateur. Mine doesn't look nearly as good.
They look pretty good. A couple of things I would tell you on your box. It looks like your ingredients are bigger than they need to be. And you see the copy down at the bottom there underneath the Chateau logo on the back surface? Yeah, that?
Uh-huh.
That could be smaller. That doesn't, I mean, when I say smaller, you have it too wide. It could be smaller. You can make that smaller.
Okay.
You have to understand something about these ingredients and things. They don't have to be huge on the box. They just have to be on the box. You understand that the legal requirements are that this information be on the box. They can be tiny, just as long as they're on the box. So a lot of times, and it's the same thing with that white panel on the back. You got that, it's very large. Doesn't have to be that big. So, I mean, am I going to fail you because you have those larger? No, but I'm telling you from a critique standpoint, you probably could make them smaller and it would make sense if you did. It would just make a better presentation.
It's just in every critique that I got from you was fill up my box more. So.
Well, yeah, but yes, but you don't want to pack it. You want to fill it. You want to make sure that you're utilizing the surface. Maybe the way I said it was wrong. I didn't mean that you wanted to pack the every panel. You wanted to take advantage of the space available on every panel. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want a client coming to you and saying, hey, you know, you got a big hole in that, can we put something there? You know, that's really what it comes down to. These guys, you know, a lot of times they want to pack every bit of information that they possibly can. And it looks to me like you did a really good job overall, but I'm just
Okay,
saying.
I'm sorry. I do have a question, like about about revolving the box and how to enclose it. That was the other thing that I was having trouble with. I'm not.
Well, when I go back in, I'll give you a quick demonstration of how to create the box. And then what you do is after you create the box, whose is this? I'm sorry. This is
Jackie's.
Jaquise, all you did. You tell her how you did it. Tell her how you did it. I'll show her how to do it, but you tell her how you did it.
What I did is, you know, you go to your rectangle tool and you put in the measurements. I think that we did from the beginning was like 4 by 12.
7.5 or something?
Yeah, 12 by 4, 4 by 12 by 4.
Okay.
And it'll pull up your box that you need. And then you go into the
3D.
Yep, you'll go to the effects, your 3D.
And this is an extrude and bevel. Yeah.
And then you'll do all your setups there. You
get the same map art window, correct?
Correct.
And then what you do is you basically go in and you map to each individual surface the graphics that you turn. There's your shape. You map onto each individual surface the symbols that you created from your elements. Correct?
Correct. Well,
I would not use black.
I'm more of a doer instead of a talker, more say, I guess. Like I could do more than I could tell you.
Well, he's showing you how to do it, so this is cool.
Extrude and bevel. And this is, you get here. And what I did is I preview it, of course.
There you go.
And I played with this here. And I think I did about 290, something like that.
You need a little bit more than that, I think. You need about 325 maybe. Looks like it's a little bit thinner than it should be, about 320. Try 325.
325.
I'm guessing. You got to play with it until it looks like a square box.
Yeah, I think I did like 299, something like that. 290, 299. But I also put a little perspective to it.
Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And perspective is a very smart thing to do because you will see things in perspective. Then you're going to go from that point, Shoxy, you're going to go to map art, correct?
Yes, I went to map art.
Right. And then what you're going to do is make sure that you've got preview, and then you're going to go into your surfaces and just show her how you put one onto the surface if you can. Do you have any of your elements in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so put an element on for her so she can see what you did.
So this is my side, which I believe I'm on. And
yeah, and you have to turn it. It's a pain in the neck to turn this thing.
It is.
But you did good. Very good. Don't worry, that doesn't have to be perfect as long as she sees what you're doing. That she just wants to get the idea.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but when you were, this is the actual box that you did for the layout, right? Or is this something completely different?
No, you do it completely different. All you do is that one side, and then you make it a 3D.
No. I'm talking about as far as your artwork.
Right. When you made your cutout, you're gonna take those each panel. You're gonna make them a symbol.
Yeah. So let me explain to her. What you're going to do is when you make your box, when you're done, you're going to take the element. Show her your box. Open up your box. So each one of her pages, each one of her panels on her box, what she did was she made a rectangular shape, and then she copied all the elements on each individual panel, and she put them onto a separate piece.
I'm sorry. There it is. Yeah. So
Actually, you know what? Go in. Do me a favor. Go into your symbols panel and drag out one of your symbols that you can show her. Go into your symbols panel and drag out the symbol and just place it on the desktop.
Place my symbol on the
Yeah,
desktop?
click the symbol and just drag it to the desktop. It should come out. Click and drag it out. And drop it on your desktop.
Oh, it won't let me. Maybe not.
Is your layer locked?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, there you go. There's your symbol. So you see what she did? She made a symbol. That's her symbol. And what she did was she took her background and she made a background of that color, which is the same color she used on her box. She put her logo and her text and that little band across the bottom there. And she then took that whole thing, dragged it in to the symbols panel and made a symbol out of it. Because that's how you apply the graphic to either your label, or either your label graphics to your bottle or your side to your box. They have to be symbols. Does that help?
Even if you made because I made these here in week 3 and I just edited a little more, so it's like in a different page, and I just copied them onto here and then dragged it inside my symbols.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks great. Does that clear it up for you at all?
For me?
Yeah. No, who was it that was asking? Somebody was asking. I don't know who was asking.
It was me who was asking.
Are you clear now with what she did?
Yeah. So basically, when I go back to the actual what we did for the
box layout, correct?
Yeah. Because even though we did the whole Pathfinder thing, each panel should still be its own separate entity, right?
Yes. So in other words, you don't have to put, when you create your 3D model, if you take a look, scroll, Shucks, can you just, yeah, that's it. She made 3 things. She made the top, see the top up there where it says Chateau Vineyards with the logo. She made that piece as a panel. That's the background color and those 2 elements. That became one symbol. She duplicated that and made it one symbol. Open your symbols panel and show her.
I don't think I have it in this page.
It's
okay. Well, okay. Then don't bother.
Yeah, this one's just my front because this was from week 3.
Yeah. Does that one have the symbols in it? Which one? Does any of the ones that you have open got the symbol in it?
My final one has.
Okay. Okay. It's the same thing. If you take a look at the box there, do you have that one there?
Flat box. I'm sorry. I'm going back and forth through pages.
Yeah.
So
anyway, let's just.
All my information from.
Okay. So she basically built her box first. That's what she did.
Right. And then I open up a new page and I will select this here and I will copy it and I'll go to my new page and I will paste it. And then once I got everything that I needed, I will drag it and put it inside my symbols. Right. And then I started doing my 3D.
Did you use a clipping mask on yours? Because I just noticed on your one symbol where the green comes over a little bit here. Yeah, if you did the
that shouldn't be like that. That shouldn't be like that. If it's working for her, she's lucky, but that shouldn't be like that. You should use a clipping mask. That was a very good question. And when you have a situation like that, you can do one of 2 things. You could either just size that banner so it's correct, not the type, because they're separate elements, but just size that banner so it's correct. In other words, you're going to select it and make it go to size of the width of that background, or you could use a clipping mask on it. It's totally up to you. But, I mean, try to do things as simple as possible.
Clipping mask is so much easier.
What?
Like that is because you gave me a
the extra
bleed. So
yes.
It has it for the bleed. And
yes.
Carried on.
Right.
It didn't work out. It didn't affect my box.
No. So that's good.
Wow.
Okay.
That's why it's out like that.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be there. It's not necessary. It should look just like that panel. Okay?
Right.
Are you good?
Yep.
It looks really good. I like your color scheme.
Thank you.
All right, let me do this. Are we good? Everybody good? Any other questions for her because we're here?
No, I would just, the only thing I would say is on your front box, you have that trapped space between the banner and your logo. So I would just say to try to move that down a little bit so it's more even, because you have a little bit of space at the top and then that big empty space right in the middle.
Yeah, you move the Chateau Vineyards and that thing down a little bit, but I don't know. Another thing that you could have done possibly was you could have found a nice photograph of the wine in a glass or something, but it's okay. It's not bad. Move it down a little bit if you want. You could do that right on your symbol and it'll redraw.
Okay.
All right.
But it looks really good. You did a great job. I like it.
Yes, you did. You did a very good job. The bottles look great. It looks very realistic, very nice. And you've even coordinated the foil on top of the bottle with the logo. Really good job of pulling the whole thing together. You got the gold on the back of the label. Whole thing looks great. Nice presentation. Remember to upload it into your Behance, okay? Let me get out of here because I'm running out of time and I need to do a little bit of a critique on the others, all right?
Okay. Oh, one question. Do I push this back up there or do I just delete it?
Delete it because it's just yeah, delete it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So stop share or thank you.
All right, let me come in and let me share screen. All right, got to do this real quick because I'm running out of time. I don't know what is with this thing. All right, let's go to, hold on, week 4. All right, let's see. Student work, here we go. Assignment. Nikisha Thomas. Here we go. All right. Nikisha's not here, right?
No, that wasn't us.
All right. So here's the problem with this. You've got these lines here. I don't see my bleeds. I don't see my my trim, and I don't see my folds. That's the first thing. Second thing, the colors. It doesn't look like you have your box shapes correct, and I think you could fix it, but it's just not. You don't have the box. You don't have the box set up properly. There's no bleeds. There's no trim. There's no folds. The colors are fine. You can work with the colors. You probably should add some more graphics. We've talked about this. The biggest situation with this, though, is that I'm not seeing the box. I'm not understanding how the box works. You have these lines, I don't, maybe that's supposed to suggest bleed, but it sure doesn't. You have to actually have a red line for bleed. You have to have a black line for trim, and you have to have fold lines. All those are missing. I think that's the biggest problem with this submission. So I don't know. I think I sent you an email. Come and see me, and I'll try to straighten you out. Okay?
The logo's been stretched.
Yeah, and also the logo's in black. She's supposed to add color. All right. I don't know what the deal is with this one. This is a box. I don't know whether I got anything else in here.
Those aren't the.
Is this the same box?
No, those aren't our critiques, though.
Huh?
That's the same person.
This is the same person? Okay. I mean, this looks like it's heading in the right direction, but again, you don't have nothing on the side, nothing on the top. The logo's in black. It should be in a different color. She did a good job doing the basic 3D extrude. I just don't think she has her elements placed quite right, and she needs to do more work with the elements. Too much black. There's not enough design going on with it. Right?
Right.
Okay, let's see. I got one more here because we're running out of time. This is Sarah and Cassandra. Sarah, didn't do Sarah. Let me go to Cassandra. Okay, here's Cassandra's. Let's zoom it out. Let's see if I can zoom this thing out. Here we go. Okay, there's the wine bottle. Has she got anything else? The problem is there's no box. Okay, so I'm not seeing her box. I don't know how the box works. She revolved her bottle pretty well. The bottle looks okay. She probably could have been a little bit more precise with the edge. The edge is a little bit strange. It's a little bit overdone. You know what I mean? It needs to be smooth a little bit. And as far as the actual label is concerned, I think the label basically is okay. She just needs to probably make it a little bit smaller I think it's a little bit too big on the banner, the background, which is a color. It just should be a little bit smaller. And I don't know whether she has a back label, what other information she has in the back. If you notice, I think it was Choxy, right? You made the front and the back label, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So really, I mean, she did a really beautiful job with hers. I'd like to see you make some adjustments with this so that the actual logo fits a little bit better on this. And I think you probably need to do a back label and apply the back label. Did you have any trouble applying your front and back label to yours? You saw how the 3D revolved the front and the back, right?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
The only problem is I had to like adjust my anchor points sometimes because, well, that was before I watched this Monday's video where I could actually shrink the logo.
Yeah.
But at first I was like trying to move the bottle,
Yeah.
in the bottle to fit the logo, but
Yeah.
now I know you fit the logo to the bottle.
Yeah, all you have to do is adjust it. You can make it bigger or smaller, and you can distort it if you have to. So yeah, it's really pretty forgiving.
Yeah.
So that's it. I don't have any idea what your layout looks like by this. And part of the assignment, this is the important thing. This week's assignment is not just to render a box and a bottle. It's two-part. You have to do your final layout for your box, and it has to be print ready. You have to go through the process of checking everything. So that's part of the assignment. Then the other part of the assignment is you got to render your bottle and you got to render your box. So you all know this, right?
Yeah, Bill, if we're putting our UPC on the bottom of our box, do you want our...
No, it's okay as long as you show it to me in your layout. If it's present in your layout, we're okay. I understand exactly. It's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay, here's something. This is a good job. Let's go. Let's zoom this out a little bit. This is actually a pretty good job what you did here. Okay, I would say probably. I don't know. I don't have really much to complain with here. I think this is probably okay. I think maybe the only thing is here, this might be a little bit bigger. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess you could try seeing what would happen to it if you justified it. The rag is a little bit bad on this, and it's not her fault that the rag is bad on this. The reason that the rag is bad is because it's the words. They're using a lot of very large words. So she ends up with a very troublesome rag. So I don't know what she can do about that. Oh, and by the way, one really big problem. This, and again, I like the way she used this picture of her sailing ship. The only problem is what's wrong here. Take a look. What do you see that's wrong with that?
It needs to go to the bleed and it's kind of blurry.
I don't. No. It's soft and it's moody. That's okay. That doesn't bother me at all. It's soft and it's moody, and it's not a major part of the box. The major part of the box is the color. The only problem with it is it does have to go out to that point right there because it cuts off. If this box gets folded a little bit off, that's going to look bad. So that should go over to there as well, onto the glue strip. Keep in mind, everybody, you never, ever see the glue strip because the glue strip gets folded, or I should say glued and attached inside of that panel right there when it folds up. But you need the element to go over to that edge of the glue strip. That's the only real major problem I have with this. She's resolved the colors. I do have one question, though, and that is why she's using this color here for all the copy, and in a couple of places she's using this color right there. To me, I just think that that's a little bit strange. I think she'd be better off in just picking the lighter color or the darker color and going with it in all cases. I don't see where having a few little things like this, I mean, this isn't so terrible here, and that's not so terrible there. And this is logical that you did that, but I don't think that having that color and that color makes much sense. You're better off to have it all one color. And I think you probably should try the lighter color. What do you guys think? Am I right or wrong?
I like the lighter color.
What about having those two colors? Do you think that does that bother you? Because it bothers me.
I kind of look at it folded, and I don't think it'd be as bad when it's
No,
folded.
it won't be as bad, but it's somewhat illogical. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have those two colors. You should probably go with one of the colors and let it go like that. I do like using the Cool Breeze in the two colors. That's a different story. But I think when you have the body copy like this, it should be one color. What do you guys think? Am I wrong?
No.
I think it's because that paragraph in the middle is a paragraph about the product, where the other stuff is the ingredients and like where it's from.
Right, but I don't see the need in changing colors for that. I just think maybe what you would do is maybe make this and this smaller. Leave that bigger. That's what I would do with this. This is not as important, and this is not important. This is more important. So I would leave this bigger, and I would make this smaller. And this could be smaller. And this stuff could even be a little bit smaller. Again, you don't have to have the back and the side panel packed solid. You just have to have these elements. But I will say this. It does look like she went in and she checked out what a box looks like. And she did a pretty good job of putting elements on the box that make sense, right? You guys would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think she's very close to this. This looks actually very close to what she wants. Just a couple of little minor things. Okay, there's your label. So there's your label for your container. Good? You like that?
Mm-hmm.
So what's not here?
The bottle.
The bottle and the box 3Ds, right?
Right.
Okay, so she's very close with her labeling and with her packaging, right? Do we agree with that? Does that look good to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see the folds?
Yeah.
No.
You don't see the folds right there?
Well, no, it's dark and it's little. So.
Well, yeah, but you can see that they're there, right?
Well, I mean, if you're saying they're there, I personally.
I'm assuming that she has these things. If you remember what my Monday night demonstration was, I have layers, and I have my bleed on one layer. I have my trim on one layer, and I have my folds on another layer. I'm hoping, because I haven't opened this up yet in Adobe Illustrator, I'm hoping that she has them done on that layer. Now, if she doesn't have them done at this point, because I believe this was for week 3, and this is assessment 4, so I guess this is her final. I'm going to have to look and see, but for your benefit, Sarah, make sure that you have layers for these things, because that's important, and make sure that you do make some fixing here. This thing here can go over to there. These things here, you might consider making them all the same color, and they might be a little bit smaller. And I think your label is basically okay. I'm assuming that ship wraps around. Is this front and back, or is it a wraparound label? I'm not sure. I really would like to see your 3D box rendering and your bottle to really get a sense of what you're doing, because I'm not 100% convinced of the label. The box I have no trouble with, because I think you're basically good there. What do you guys think? Am I right?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. All right, so that's it. That's all I got to say about that one. And I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty much done for the night. I don't know what you guys need, if anything. You got anything? Any final thoughts? Anything you want
to do my critique? I don't know where it went. You had it yesterday to do.
Oh, week 4. Critique Crystal Bird? Crystal.
Green.
Which one?
Lilac. Up.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Sorry. Here we go. All right. So, Crystal.
No, Brienne.
Oh, I'm sorry. All confused here. There's your 3D render. Your 3D render looks good. One thing I would tell you to do with this is I would go in and I would do some perspective on it.
Okay.
You remember how she did the perspective? I think it was...
Under my revolve.
Huh?
Under the, yeah, I know, under the 3D.
Yeah, under the 3D can add a little bit of perspective to it, because this thing looks a little bit, a little bit weird without perspective, and perspective will really make it look much better. But I will tell you this, your elements fit nicely on the box. They look really nice in the box. One very strong word of caution here. Please be careful with your principles of design contrast. You are coming dangerously close on that front surface of contrast problems with the symbol, the breeze, and especially that type. You might want to consider a darker color for that type. It's very close in contrast to the background, and that's not really good.
Okay.
All right, that's my only concern. When you look at it this way, it doesn't look as bad, but I would say be very cautious with that because it's close. It's very close. And contrast, you know, it's an important part of design process.
Right.
Okay. I think basically, though, what you have here looks good from a presentation standpoint. It looks good. I'm hoping that you have this thing layered properly so that, you know, you have your bleed on a layer and you have your trim on a layer and your folds on a layer. You did do that.
Yeah, the only thing I did was in the directions it said to put all of our artwork on one layer, so I did that. So it did run into a problem when I was trying to make all my symbols and panels later.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with that. What I would have done is I would have put all my background elements on a layer. That's how I did mine. My background elements would be this artwork here, that panel, that panel, that panel, and that panel. And then all of my graphic elements, that would have been on a separate layer. And then what I would have done is I would have put my bleed on a layer, I would have put my trim on a layer, and I would put my folds on a layer. That's what I would do. So you might want to consider doing that just to make it better, easier on you.
Right. I was just trying to follow the directions in the assignment, and it said to put everything on one layer, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's not exactly right. That's not 100% right. So, I mean, if you do that, I can't make it wrong on you because that's what the instructions tell you to do. But that's not actually 100% accurate.
Okay.
All right. But not bad. I don't know what your bottle looks like. I'd like to see the bottle. This, I think you could use some perspective on. That would be my only critique. And then just think about the color. See, on the side, that looks good. But on the front, that looks a little bit weak. So you might want to go with it, see, that looks better on the front. So you might want to consider making those that color.
Okay.
See how it looks.
And then we worked on my bottle a little bit yesterday, so it'll all come together. I can do on the bottle the graphics that I have in there. If I make those a symbol, I could add that texture to the bottle too, right?
Yeah, you should be able to do it, but you have to, you'll have to place it on, and then you're going to have to create a clipping mask if you don't want, if it's hanging off, you got to create a clipping mask to it and do all the things that you have to do. You may end up having to expand it. Did you have to expand it to get it to go on that box?
No, I just did a clipping mask.
Okay. So it didn't have a problem. It didn't have a problem. That was done. You did that in the 3D environment, right?
I did.
Okay, so you don't have a problem then. You should just basically do a clipping mask so that it doesn't go off on, out.
Okay.
Did you do your design with the paintbrush tool?
Yeah, I picked a watercolor paintbrush tool, and then I played around with it and played with the colors and just hand drew the designs.
That's really nice. I like that.
Thank you.
Came out pretty good. Okay, so you got any other questions? Does anybody have any final questions?
No, I'm good.
No, I'll just see you when you're in Blackboard later.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Blackboard now. It's 7:03. I'm going to end the meeting. Let me stop sharing first of all. Hold on, give me a second. Stop.